Started as a Brahman, now we're here. Welcome to SYNCTANK. I am Andreas. This is my friend. Hi, Eddie. Good to see you. What's up, Eddie? This is my other friend, Noel. Say hi, Noel. What's up?
What's up, Noel?
This is another good friend. This is my friend, Andy. Hey, Andy.
What's up? How's it going, guys?
And together we are SYNCTANK. That's how it felt, like a Captain Planet.
Ta-da!
I got these new sweatshirts. I think you saw it last time, but they're different colors and stuff. So if you guys want a SYNCTANK sweatshirt, they're pretty sweet. It's a tank and it's like a mixing track machine and everything. I like it. Sweet. Yeah, and you can get a bunch of shirts now. Actually, let me show you that. Make sure I do my ritual grifting. If you want, there's a Wednesday Ultra shirt with a heptagram thing going on. There's a little bit of this like MK Canada, Gay Mafia. That's my take on the Fart Boys collection. I wanted to have something that kind of felt designer and cool. Gay Mafia stuff looks great, especially on like navy blue. I'm a big fan of the. Look at that, right? Hold on. Oh, don't look. Yeah, that just feels indigo even. I don't know. Gay Mafia. Give something to your friends to talk about. A little bit of an icebreaker. The MK Canada, California. California is always popular. Cool. All right, I did my grift. So here's the thing. David's busy fighting crime tonight. He's out doing his, because he has to do that every once in a while. He has to keep the city safe. But I figured there were so many things to talk about. Noel, I really want to talk to you and have some stuff about Veda and Hinduism. I also really quickly want to hear people's opinions on FTX, because that's pretty fun. And anything you guys want to bring up. You guys know about FTX right now and the exchange.
I've heard the story, but
look at this picture of him too. It looks like he's like in the school office at like a really expensive private school. It's like, dude, they found the pot. They found it in your locker, bro. Like, I don't know. And they're gonna smoke it.
I get 3 days off.
Yeah, they took it. It's come up so many times. Let me see if I can just do this thing.
It seems like the government's not going to do anything about it.
I mean, that's what they did, right? Isn't that kind of the thing? I don't know. Okay, find like photos. They did the thing they do. So here's the beginning of it. This is just for those of you who haven't gone through the football plays. This is how it works. So I don't know where it starts is kind of the irony here. It just kind of keeps going forever until step 4, which I did. Now, you know what? Here, we'll go to my tweet because I think I figured it out. I had to study this for like hours to be sure that we got this, though. So here it goes. It goes, step 1, fund Ukraine. I think that's how you start. Step 2, Ukraine funds FTX. They put their money that we sent them billions of dollars, and they put that into crypto exchange so that there's interest on it. It's untraceable to an extent. They can buy guns. They can, it can be whatever. And then FTX does all this other stuff. FTX funds the Democrats, it says here, but it's a lot more interesting than just that, right? So FTX funds ivermectin, anti-ivermectin campains.
I like how the CEO, his name is Bankman,
Fried Bank, yeah.
You can't make that stuff up.
Is it Bank Fried? Sam Bankman-Fried. I mean, it's because he's going to be they're going to fry the Bankman for this, right? That's kind of it's like, yeah. So I did read this before. I've been reading it over and over again. I can't help myself. I'm doing it again. Hold on. And every time I have to go, because I can't remember how to spell Manitas. So I have to literally just like, who's Manitas again? Here, Will Manitas. This is Will Manitas. And he says this. He says, if I were an intelligence agency, I were concerned my advisors were using crypto to launder funds, how would I stop that? First, I'd find the central casting idea of a tech founder, MIT dropout, finance, cargo shorts, long hair, sleeps on a beanbag kind of guy. Then stick him offshore and claim he's discovered an arbitrage on the Forex market. The details don't matter, but it should require unaudible OTC transactions and credibly add up to a couple $billion. All that matters is it's mildly believable and it's not on the chain. Then I'd have him use those funds to build a very large crypto exchange. The goal here is to subsidize the thing until you see enough trading volume to see the state of the market at any moment. Only then you can start understanding how these, quote, illegal war funds are moving. Great. Okay, now you have legibility into all crypto transactions for a handful of currencies, and you're starting to understand where cash flow are going. What's next? Every time a project fails, let's take a little bit of that arbitrary money and use it to bail out their products. On the grand scale of things, this is a tiny cost to compare to what you're making in suitcases of cash washing up outside of your office, but it gives you information rights into any currency you own on the exchange. Okay, now essentially you've rebuilt IRS level audibility into decentralized currencies in just a few years. Your great power adversaries are significantly weakened. Total cost, a few billion and a sports stadium sponsorship, right? So that's the FTX idea that Manitas put out, that maybe there's something going on there. What do you guys think of that?
Well, I mean, decentralized, actually decentralized. Exchanges are centralized, so I don't understand why he's saying that this is the part that kind of throws me. He's saying because decentralized exchange, because they have it has nothing to do with Bitcoin, really.
Well, you take your cryptocurrency, and it's not Bitcoin's fault, is the thing. So if people are
off-ramp, exchanges are on-ramp, off-ramp. Like, you're not supposed to stay there. It's dangerous.
But a lot of people did, right?
But how is that IRS though? That's what I don't understand.
So the way it works is, let's look at crypto coin. If you think about it, this is just a series of code. When you get to the point that you control 51% of the coin, you can fork the code, which is how Bitcoin has changed into the point now where so many people have said, okay, we need to have registration receipts of everyone who's ever had this Bitcoin. That didn't used to be in the system. And we have Monero now just because of the lack of anonymity associated with the Bitcoin. But it makes sense because the Bitcoin's worth a lot of money, or it was. So banks could use it. And they might want to have transaction receipts. And so the only way to get there is you have to control the economy.
Attack on Bitcoin that's a lot of, can we even produce enough semiconductors and microchips to actually get enough hardware to overcome all those
quantum computers? New quantum computers are triple the capacity of, I think it's 450 qubits or something like that. So we had 190 before. So we're about
the Shaw algorithm is 10 to the 77th, right? And that's technically more placeholders than there are atoms in the galaxy. So is it up to that?
I think at this point you can Shaw algorithm. Cracking.
So ones and zeros out to 256 places is really just to make it easier to think about 10 to the 77th.
Right. So the way I would think about it is you use Sunny's law. So you have to figure out the basic order of operations necessary, which is that, the password's not really 256. And then you'd have to start coming up with recursive neural nets that can figure out what the 256 representations make the symbol up as, which would be basically replacing passwords with symbols, which is what we're doing. Images, you take this photo, that photo, and it becomes a password. So some of that stuff is going to be more complicated, but I think in general, especially at the way things work with backdoors and everything, I think as long as your money's in the exchange and not on your server, it's pretty easy to do. And that's why most of this comes down to just buying money and crashing the price of Bitcoin, because now it's really easy for these banks to, it only costs them a few $1 billion. Yeah, they invented futures contracts to crash Bitcoin, to bring it up, to make some money quickly, crash Bitcoin to this level here, buy more of it. This is the third or fourth time they've done this to Bitcoin, right?
Well, you know what? So here's I'm no expert at. I got a portfolio of the things that I'm still to this day I have no clue how it operates. All I know is Bitcoin. They keep talking about Satoshi. What's his name? Satoshi.
Samsung, Toshiba, Nakamichi, Motorola. So Satoshi Nakamoto. Samsung, Toshiba, Nakamichi, Motorola.
Is that a guess, or is that actually the?
Nakamoto,
at one point, Elon Musk posted it too. I've been saying it.
Yeah, I saw him posted it.
I've been saying it since 2012. I'm pretty convinced what it has to do is with Moore's law, or at least with some Sunni's law, right? Amdahl and Sunni's laws are that you can parallel a process only so much, and then there's still an amount of order of operations that have to take place. So you can make a process that takes 1 million years take 1 year, but it might still take a year because you can't just break it down any smaller than that. And so the thing is, they said, hey, we'll make a currency that anybody can make. It'll be forgeable, but it's going to be difficult. and the difficulty will be set on Moore's law. It'll be connected directly to the amount of processing power that you can produce, and that falls onto the Yakuza corporations that are building a lot of this technology. So I think that's the reason for the name. I'm convinced the NSA was involved in creating cryptocurrency in order to pay agents overseas, right?
And you know what? Craig Wright, right? He's the surviving. Allegedly, the two guys who founded Bitcoin, right? And one guy died, and the family wanted Craig Wright to pay whatever, because these guys are hoarded quite a bit, right? I don't know what's the percentage of how many Bitcoins they possess, instead of like the whatever's out in the open, being invested by people. But
right here it says max supply 21 million, total supply 19. So we've lost a decent million of Bitcoin.
I would say you lost 6 million also, like in the beginning. So your max supply is really like 14, 15 million. Because people didn't know what it was, they just throw out their hard drive, like whatever.
And they also made news too that somebody lost in the dump, right? It was like 180 million.
Did they actually find it?
Yeah, it was on the news recently.
They didn't find it, did they? They found the thing?
Found the password. Somebody's wallet was found. Yeah, but it's huge.
So think here's the thing though. If the supply is capped right at 21 million and you lost 6 million and you have 14 million possible, 2 million left to mine, and then you have on the exchanges 1.5 million, but you have 52 million millionaires. So really you have less than, like, in terms of liquid supply, like if every millionaire wanted to have one Bitcoin, it wouldn't be possible. They'd actually have more like 3% of a Bitcoin if everybody tried to buy it at the same time.
Right.
So it's actually like extraordinarily scarce. And when you're saying forgeable, I don't think you can forge a Bitcoin at this point. There's too much hash rate. Like it's not. You can't double spend. You need 51%, and that's like astronomical. I mean, what's the current hash measured in? It's like peta something hexa hash per second. It's like, and then that's like for every ASIC miner. And then,
well, that's the other reason why it's been brought down. So like now it's not economically viable for anybody to compete in the sector, which is another reason to not worry about it. So they've got it to a point where they can hopefully keep this level of security for a while, assuming people don't make the long-term investment in starting to figure out how to do this. So they have coins that are just sitting there.
Yeah, they're like private wallet and all that.
Because it costs more electricity than it's worth at this point, and computers to make a $16,000 coin, obviously. But that coin is going to be worth $100,000.
I don't think that's true. The problem is that these companies got, they did the old style where they like levered up, and then they got to pay back the leverage. If they weren't levered like that, they'd still be profitable.
Yeah, Andreas, what I've been seeing that meme that's saying that basically all this money's been, before Bankman, of course, he said he inherited that money from the Epstein earnings, and then of course Epstein got the money from what's his name, not Maxwell, his girlfriend's father.
Yep, Robert Maxwell.
Yeah, Robert Maxwell. So did that. Somebody put up that meme, but I don't quite understand how that movement. Basically, he said he didn't just become successful overnight.
Look at this freaking article. Crypto billionaire Sam Bankman-Fried's downfall could deprive Democrats of key donor. Do you know that the only person donating more to the Democrats than Biden was Soros? Yep, the only person. So
he donated what, 40 million? This guy?
No, he donated like $1 billion or something, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
lots of money, and he's put money into all sorts of these propaganda systems. And let's see, like what
FTX to be called off. What the hell is going on? This is just
it's crazy because FTX was like a tier 1 exchange. It was considered to be anyway.
Effective altruism movement, right? So mandating for masks, for quarantine, for lockdown, for vaccination, integrating with clinical trials. So paying for people to do these test studies on people to work on new vaccines.
And then you talk about climate change, and then the minute he say climate change is why am I investing? Like, get the hell out of it.
This guy
Pull
sounds
money
like
out.
CIA.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
that's what I was saying earlier about this idea. Cass, the hippie looking guy, front of the thing, and it's so and so then there's also FTX CEO. Let's do this really quickly. Hold on. FTX CEO. Where do I have to go to find this picture?
You know what this reminds me? Remember in 2009, I think, or 2008, there were two Japanese businessmen who were walking on foot, trying to cross the border. I think they were walking from Italy, trying to walk into Switzerland. And they have suitcase loaded with U.S. Treasury bonds worth about like 190 billion, something like that. Like crazy amount of like genuine U.S. Treasury bonds. And then they got arrested at the border, and then they couldn't figure out who. They never said on the news like where did that money come from, and I think they're still in prison in Switzerland. I don't know what happened to them, but that's what
they got played.
Something about Italian mafia is involved.
So, and no offense to the Alameda research CEO who looks like literally the cousin of Kyle from South Park or something, but she's involved. Here's Barbara Fried. I'm pulling it up. I swear. But the thing is, I want the picture that connects it so cleanly.
Her father was. How's it related? Her father was his mentor or something like that.
It's so much weirder. It's the SEC's the person in charge of the SEC's former boss was, where is it, man? I have it here somewhere.
Gary Gensler's former boss.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I mean, it's not just his girlfriend. Her father was like
these royals.
I put it, Mang.
Viva la Roya.
Okay, the CEO of FTX is the daughter of SEC head's former boss. That's what it is. So
SEC's head.
Yeah. So this is why it's so interesting. This is why it's so interesting because the SEC, which has just recently finished a trial against Library and saying all cryptos that are not securities are securities, right?
That title's whack.
I can't even see where it says.
It's the girlfriend of the CEO, not the CEO. She's a CEO of Alameda, not of FTX.
Sorry, that was my fault. Yeah, the Alameda research, which is much more important.
No, it's not your fault. It was in the titles, Jack.
Right.
That's what it says, right? I mean, the SEC, the Security Exchange Commission, right?
Right.
Is that really? That's getting scary now because now
we're
talking
who is
about
Gary Gensler's former boss? That's the question.
Oh my God! I had some serious fear that there's a huge dollar collapse looming because the Federal Reserve is planning on digital money, right? They've been vocal about it for the last 2 years, and I have a feeling that this is just building up to it.
Yeah,
I don't think they're gonna say, "Oh, the currency's collapsed." What they're gonna do is just like move the train on another set of rails and be like, "We don't accept cash anymore. It's all digital dollars."
Right.
And they'll technically call it a CBDC. This is the central bank digital CBDD or digital dollar or something.
Yeah. The Indian, what's his name? The Indian Prime Minister. That's the first thing he said out of his mouth when he got his job, right? But when whoever stepped down.
You want to go down that? That's for completely different reasons, though. That's because all the terrorist money coming from Saudi Arabia through Pakistan. Oh, you want to know what that is? I actually have the scoop on that.
Tell me what I can pull up while you say it. I'll pull up some pictures here. You know what?
Okay. Why did India demonetize? Why did India demonetize first thing? This was discovered in Pakistan. Exact replicas of the Indian rupee that were so good that after sending them to multiple labs, they turned out to be real, but they weren't actually real. They were fakes. And so what happened? This actually happened before Modi, but the guy was too scared. What's his name? The guy was too scared to deal with it. So Manmohan Singh, because so there's a person called Sonia Gandhi, who's an Italian citizen, who was basically running the Congress Party of India. And so like Manmohan Singh is like the puppet prime minister. And like her real name's Anthony Mino. and supposedly she's like a barmaid, but it's like totally a bogus story. And she married into the so-called Gandhi dynasty family. Anyway, it's a little complicated, but what we're getting at here is that they found near the border of Pakistan, they found within India that people were selling 500 rupee notes in exchange. They're giving double of these fake 500 rupee notes and 1,000 rupee notes for half price. But when they looked at the notes, they were so good. The counterfeits were so good that when they sent them to the forensic lab, they were like, these are real notes. And they're like, but why would they be doing this? So somebody named Mayavati, a politician named Mayavati, looked into it. Okay. She sent it to another lab in Singapore and Japan, came back, real notes. Finally, she sent it to a lab in California, and they're like, they're real notes except for 5 points. There's 5 points on these that are that show that it's not a real note, or it's made by the same machine, although these 5 dots have been added into it. And it all got traced back to a deal that Antonio Mino, Sonia Gandhi, who was running like this like leftist India party, the previous government, she had a deal with this money printer in Italy who was from the same place that she is. Now that guy's in jail now. And so they couldn't imagine this. You have a country and all of a sudden you have all of this fake money that looks exactly like your real money. So what would that do to the rupee? That would just like completely crash their economy. So they couldn't say anything. So what the current prime minister did, Narendra Modi, is he said we need to demonetize the 500 rupee note is because it's been used for blackmail and bribery. So once we do this, we can clear the house very easily because everybody's got pallets of these cemented in concrete, like next to their house, like merged into the walls of their house. So like, we're just going to get rid of the 500 rupee notes, and everybody knows like, okay, yeah, this will help corruption in India, remove all of the black money, just eliminate it, you know? But what it really was is that there was actually counterfeit notes in Pakistan that were printed in Italy. And it turned out to be like a massive scandal. Because what happens is when they did this, so when Narendra Modi actually did the demonetization of the 500 notes, what actually ended up happening is they were estimating, okay, we have this amount of counterfeit money in circulation. What they got back is that we have more counterfeit rupee notes in circulation than actual real notes. And they're so good that nobody can figure it out except for this one lab in California. So they eliminated this, and then later, I think recently, the public started finding out, like, when did they demonetize? Was it like 2014, 15 or something? So yeah, like 6-7 years later, they're like, actually, there was like a bunch of fake notes, and we had to eliminate them from circulation. So part of the problem is this goes to like fund like terrorist jihadist agitators and within India. That's why they need a digital currency. So they have like completely different set of political problems than we do.
You know, Korea had this problem too. Korea was doing counterfeiting money. Sorry, go ahead, Eddie.
No, when I was talking about Indian, I was talking about the Indian Prime Minister, the Indian of the UK. You know, the new he when he got his job 2 weeks ago. He just started saying the CBCD, and that's the first thing he said. And then he said that the Bank of England is going to start to, in the matter of. In 2023, that's the goal. They're going to start, just outright about, they're going to outlaw cash altogether.
Yeah, you're talking about Sunak.
Yeah. I keep forgetting his name. Yeah, Sunak. Yeah,
Rishi Sunak.
That's the first thing he said. I mean, he made a video right away, right after he got in office. Oh, that's what we're planning to do. So,
yeah, he's the perfect puppet. He's into everything they want.
Here's a thing called Mind the Gap. Adam Krigler on bass showed me, and it's funny because Magic the Gathering. And so you start to notice some of these Mount Gox. There's a thing that goes on with this, but this is a very powerful PAC fund for the Democratic political candidates. Although it's I would say the progressive elite, because I'm starting to try to make the distinction that there probably are the way that there are some Republicans that don't like Liz Cheney. There are some Democrats out there, you know. So this is just the power structure. And, Barbara Fried comes up. Stanford law professor Barbara Fried.
No relations to Fried.
You might think that, but yeah, sorry. There's a sync there. You can't help it. And yeah, leaked memo refers to themselves as a collection of pro bono donor advisors. Don't worry, it's you just pay us if it works out for you. You know, we're just here to help you get it's like, what are these real estate agents for earmarks? But the group there and their donors are much more powerful and influential than they let on. According to the memo, MTG won 10 of the 20 races they picked in 2018, despite most races initially being predicted as lean or likely R. It's a hard R for Republican. Breast, Fried, and Gottlieb established their donor networks and started receiving donations leading up to the midterm elections in 2018. The PAC created a statistical model which attempted to score the marginal impact each dollar donated would have on its Democrats, winning back control of the House of Representatives. According to the memo, MTG was able to construct a, quote, donor network of over 800 individuals, raising a total of $20 million. For 20 undervalued and underfunded House races, and for get out of the vote, Go TV efforts in the 100 most competitive House races. Their attempt to win back control of the House of Democrats was largely successful, they argue, due to their fundraising efforts, right? So here's your crypto money hard at work, America.
Hey, I just dropped it in the mailbox in the Twitter. Did you see my post? It's going around right now. The Hunter Biden's laptop.
Oh no, more?
Yeah, the entire PDF is here. 600 pages.
This is fake though, right? It didn't really say Marco Polo, right? Or did it?
No, okay, but just click on that link. It'll take you to the PDF. But
that's safe.
And I look at it, just like so much about like Chinese donors to Biden, the communist China, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that are in there. It's crazy. And
I like the dolphin. Very John C. Lilly Order of the Dolphin.
There's some blur pics too of Hunter.
A sin's not accidental, but a trade. Okay. Providing a true list of topics. FBI walkthrough. Let me zoom in.
I haven't had the time to go through the whole thing, but I'm like, this is massive.
15-year-old girl consensual relationship from North Carolina. Technically, you can't have a consensual relationship.
Yeah, that's an interesting phrase.
Former Congress Chris Lee, former First Lady Hillary Clinton, illegal use of server, former FBI and philanderers. Yeah, this is the stuff that they really want me to talk about. Okay, especially relevant to the Biden laptop scandal and reports was Apple iCloud's feature and its capabilities. As a general rule, any taken picture on Hunter's phone appeared on his laptop via the iCloud. The photos, which automatically synced the photos across the devices. From Marco Polo's perspective, the iCloud feature provided gigabytes of extra material for the investigation. Okay. Yeah, that's basically what we expected. This is kind of like, imagine like, so at the beginning I saw that dolphin, and the dolphin was making me think of SETI, because SETI started out as the order of the dolphin.
Yeah.
You're imagining these guys putting out a smoke signal, trying to get something, and then this is what they get back from the aliens is Hunter Biden's laptop. I don't know. It's a soft daydream.
Hitler,
right?
and the Munich games,
Yeah, and then there's a couple of 50s football shows that probably are just now reaching Alpha Centauri. But let's see, via electronic transmission, making
money laundering intergalactically.
Yeah. There we are.
We cash out Earth, cash it out. Somebody
top FBI official let romantic relationship disrupt workplace, reports find. Okay, so now you've got sexual espionage, perhaps. I mean, is what we used to call that in the Cold War.
Honey, what do you call it? Honey trap.
Honeypot.
Yeah, honeypot.
Sounds weirder when you say it like that, though. I don't know. Just kidding. Michael Horvitz, Hunter Biden's prosecutor rejects moves that would have revealed probe earlier. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I haven't checked this out yet, but I do know that there was some pretty messed up stuff on his laptop and his iCloud, and you can't even look at it, because if you're looking at it, you're looking at stuff that's illegal to see. It's that bad. So we all know that now, and we couldn't say that before, and now we can. That's kind of funny.
This is all fictional, YouTube. It's fictional.
I think they've moved on. A year ago, you couldn't tell the truth, but now they're like, okay, well, that's an old story, so they have other things they're worried about. We're probably going to get in more trouble just for talking about Barbara Fried, just bringing up that the Gox group.
Yeah, once they put something out there, they don't care what all of us do with it. We're just fucking ripping it to shreds, one way or another. But then they just don't want us talking about what they haven't put out yet.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. So it's like they want to be able to control the narrative. They want to be able to say. So this is something I noticed the other day. So I was talking to somebody and I said, "Hey, you see what happened in Arizona? This crazy thing went on." They're like, "What are you talking about?" And I said it just a couple days before they heard about it. So I said, "Oh yeah, there's this person in Arizona named Katie Hobbs, who is, I didn't even say her name. I was like, there's this person in Arizona who's running the election and she's running herself, but she's in charge of counting the ballots. Isn't that crazy?" And they were like, "That's crazy, right?" But not having context about Republican or Democrat and them being a Democrat. So now that's already going to confuse them. And I'm sure someone's already debunked the truth for them. But then tell the same story today. And you say, "Hey, did you hear about this lady who's running the election that she's running in? She's counting her own votes. What do you think of that?" And they'll say, "Oh, I heard about this. And it's wonderful. It's brave and beautiful. It's just showing how great our side is." And this evil person that is a troll, is just trying to, she's just trying to cheat by demanding people count the votes. That's just crazy, right? I don't know. That's kind of where we're gotten to. So it becomes a partisan issue a week later. And that's why they have to put the information out saying, well, it's pretty obvious what's going on, right?
Did you see the thing? I just sent you the link in the thing about this TV show host that like she kind of admits to like being a part of voter fraud or something like that.
Oh my God.
It's interesting.
I have not seen it. I don't know if it's gonna let me if I could do subtitles maybe. What's she say? Just walk me through what's going on. Oh, Whoopi's in here.
God. I saw it once, but like she basically is like, yeah, this woman told me to put my absentee ballot in this orange bag. It looked like a Foot Locker bag. And
what?
She's like, isn't there an official thing to put it in? She's like, I'll go check. It was like really shady to her. And it was weird.
Buried somewhere in the woods.
Yeah, it's on Rising. Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
I don't think they meant for that. She seemed kind of dumb.
Yeah, she might have accidentally been voting for like actual issues or something like that. I could see that being a thing. That's the thing, man. I don't know. So I started the title of this video. I started as a Brahmin. Now we're here because I kind of thought it seems like we're in this idea of the reset, but everyone resets. Life and death is a reset in a sense. And I kind of wanted to get into the metaphysical aspects of our reality and try to feel less worried about the economy. You know what I mean? Do you guys have any thoughts on life, divinity, and the spirit?
Well, World War III is about to start. It's going to restart everything. We're going to just push that red button and reset. No, I wanted to talk about Russia just dropped a bomb on Poland and getting things started. So, but
we can do if you want. You know what? Hey, if you guys want to talk about Russia, no,
really tie in with the spiritual significance of that.
Yeah, I think it's still talking about the same thing.
I think you're on
it's the same topic.
It is important to bring this up that everyone's like, "Oh my God, Russia dropped a bomb. It's war." And then they're like, "Wait, was this a Ukrainian bomb?" Oh, never mind. That's not. It
was a drone. Rogue.
That's the way today went. If you weren't paying attention, basically, they're like, "This is the worst thing that ever happened." They're like, "Oh no, never mind. That's just Jazzy Jeff from House Party. We love him. It's okay." I don't know.
You see that video of him dancing? Zelensky?
Yeah, so
with the bazooka.
He's like DJing. He's pretending to DJ.
Yeah, dude. It's
Did we watch the video where he met Sean Penn the other day?
Oh yeah. We played the last show.
Oh, that was so funny. And he's just like, "This is a big deal for me. I'm so excited." Yeah, and he gets his Oscar.
Thank you, Academy. Thank you.
So okay. If you want, we can continue to talk about Russia. You guys just cut in and do what you want. I don't care. But here's the thing. Star Trek Transporter. This is going to come up more over the week. I'm going to be thinking about this a while because everyone's talking about, well, made in Canada. You know about made in Canada? Medically assisted induced suicide. Euthanasia, medically assistance in dying, made in Canada. Read the amended MAID law. So made in Canada. Now you get the idea of that. Okay. You guys remember the Star Trek Transporter, what it does. The Star Trek Transporter will tear you apart, and then it measures all of your mass. And depending if you're from the 60s or the next generation, it either transports your data to a new place or it gets ambient mass and it rearranges that mass through femtoprinting into the shape of you. So you died, but that's okay because you've been recreated. So this machine is a set, and there's been 6 or so examples I can think of, including the Rascals episode where they turn young because they split in half, or somebody who's been dead for a long time is brought back because he was buffered in the machine. This is an immortality machine. This is a suicide euthanasia pod and an immortality machine. Of course, it's not an immortality machine for everybody because you'd have to keep somebody's entire femto printout in buffer, saved in energy storage. So it's only for the elite an immortality machine, but for everybody else, or for the corrupt, but for everybody else, it's
Andrea, this thing, because I've been following exopolitics for a while, right? Talking about all the whistleblowers and the U.S. government, military. You know that the president is only having the level 17 clearance, right?
Right, clearance.
So,
it's cleared for the weird.
Yeah, it's crypto clearance. So that's that. The crypto clearance is one segment. The one above it is called Cosmo clearance. Okay, so one of the Cosmo clearances, one of the level is called particleization, and that's what you're talking about. The transport, the teleportation, and so that's one of the names. It's a teleport. It's called particleization. Basically turning you into particles into atoms and reassemble you on the other end.
But the amount of energy necessary to break you down into a pure energy state is something to the effect of 300 kilojoules. So it literally is like a nuke. Like it would take a nuke, and then all of a sudden, but theoretically, from a nuke, you might be able to, if you could capture the information, solidify it. So this is an interesting concept of the nuclear energy person. Yeah, but it would literally require 365,000 megawatt hours in an instant in order to do it. But that is our nuke power, right? So it's like 76 nuclear power plants running all the time for 20 years would be the equivalent of the 1 second of 36 or 32 to 32.6 gigajoules. So, but that is the thing. They talk about energy. They talk, this is all about holding the energy, having the ability to be immortal. Immortality seems to be this huge goal. What do you think about immortality versus reincarnation?
Okay. I'm just going to throw this out there just before I forget it, because I'm starting to have all these ideas now.
Yeah.
Because recently, it got two news articles that come up on the space news. One is that they talk about how they just, I don't know if it's the James Webb Telescope spotted it, but they saw a star being ripped apart by a black hole. Okay,
what?
It actually saw it live.
Well, what was the star wearing? Sorry.
Yeah,
you're getting creative now.
Because it's probably, you know what? Never mind. Team now analyzes interaction between black hole dominated galactic nucleus and surrounding star forming regions. First received data transmission. Yeah, so wasn't it? They thought it was an eclipse, and then it was like, whoops! I think they got a little too close. I think was the
Okay, so the second item that I'm going to bring up is, if you've been following my synchronous on Facebook, I've been tracking Beetle guys. How do you pronounce it? Beetle guys? I said.
Oh, it's up to you. I like the Betelgeuse, right?
Yeah, Betelgeuse.
But Beetlejuice is the it's the American.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
They call them Beetlejuice in the army, and it's stuck.
Yeah. So the news also came out at the same time. They talked about this star being ripped apart by the black hole. They said that the Betelgeuse has been dimming since the beginning of the pandemic. You probably noticed that. And also, there's another synchronicity is that Alec Baldwin is in the movie Beetlejuice, right? And Alec Baldwin also shot that cinematographer at the same time that the Betelgeuse started to go dim. And so 2 days ago, they said the dimming that happened, they found out that it's possibly a black hole chewing up the Betelgeuse. I'm just trying. What I'm trying to say is that what's going on with the world right now might have something to do. It's like correlation,
absolutely.
Either the star is being destroyed or the star is being transported.
Dude,
Because
when I was in third grade, I was
actually a portal.
in third grade. They had the Scholastic book fair and the Science Week and everything like that. And I remember them talking about the idea of black holes and that we could be getting eventually sucked into a black hole. I'm like, oh my god. That's what we are. We are. I mean, if unless flat Earth, because I was third grade, I'm thinking maybe all this other stuff's true. They're putting us together because the pressure of the black hole is pulling everything into itself, and so we are the slow process of what's that? Jang Bubba Fett Sarlacc pit. Yeah, it's the Sarlacc pit. We're in the reality is a Sarlacc pit that's slowly digesting us for 1,000 or 1,000,000 years or something like that. I'm like, oh my god, that's horrifying. Like the end of the world already started, and that's the beginning of the world. And and then they looked at me and they're like, you get it. And I'm like, oh my god, this is literally what you believe. This is like the most sinister Jesuit cosmogony. But okay, so
and the Disney Plus what happens spit back out of the Sarlacc.
So briefly, computers used to be hot. Computers used to be ladies. Did you know this? So we talked about how computers used to be dudes on boats. Let's go 19th century.
Well, they're the ones who was doing the punch cards, right? The what do you call it?
Well, I mean, okay, so women would wire all the things and everything like that. But if you go back further, a computer, you'd be like, computer, come to the deck and help us figure out the wind chill factor so that we can hit that boat with a cannonball. And then eventually computers became even more complicated. They couldn't be dudes. They had to be just piles of women in a building somewhere with 1,000 books working on how to figure out data informatic indexing. And the main thing that they were really important for in the late 19th century was star mapping. And so the problem with star mapping is you look at the sky, look at picture of the stars, you might notice that there's not a lot of depth of field there. How are you supposed to do a distance check, right? Maybe this is a big star. Maybe it's a closer star. Maybe that's a small star. Maybe it's really far away. And so this lady, what's her name? Something like Harvard lady. Let's see. I forget. Sobel. I think is the one. Anyway, so here's the deal. She figured out what you can do. No, there it is. Annie Jump Cannon. That's the one. You could take. So she started mapping like thousands of stars, and she would watch them at night and see how they would blink. They would get dimmer and they would get brighter. And the stars, some of them would dim very quickly and brighten very quickly, like, and others would take 10 days to slowly dim. And this is granted over only a period of like a couple years. So some of them took longer, but she wasn't measuring for like a century, some of the biggest stars. And so what she realized is the stars that are taking the longest are the most powerful, and the ones that are and are probably maybe more distant. But this is a Michelson-Morley ether experiment question for later. The other thing is the stars that are smaller and flashing quickly are weaker stars, and they're probably closer. And so
what do you call those flashing? There's a word for it. I mean, pulsating. Yeah, like the
pulsing star sounds right. Pulsating star sounds right. Is that the word? Yeah. A variable star. There you go.
Okay.
So I mean, and there was always questions: is it because the atmosphere? Is it because of something that is affecting the light in between us, like a desert mirage, or what is it? Is it really that these things are a bazillion miles away, or are they far closer and smaller? I mean, these are the kinds of questions that you couldn't answer in the 19th century, but they could figure out how to measure the variability between the changes of something. So Betelgeuse is taking a century or more to dim and brighten. It could be that it's representative of something far more interesting than we realize. Betelgeuse, let me see.
Maybe just rotation.
Well, so and then that's the thought of Oumuamua.
It's the shoulder of Orion. You notice that, right? It's like Blade Runner, the shoulder of Orion. Yeah.
So if you look at Oumuamua and you think about Dyson spheres, the idea that it's a projectile or it's moving becomes possible. We could be experiencing dimness because it's passing in front of smaller objects and it's eclipsing itself in like a direct path. And who's to say what's real or not real? But the Dyson sphere is an interesting concept because this idea of conscious light, right? Conscious light that, like we were saying earlier with the teletransporter, or even with Dr. Manhattan, there might be a point beyond mass where you become pure energy. And in pure energy, if you're able to maintain some awareness or concentration of your consciousness, maybe be able to maintain some sort of personal form to Shiva. You know what I mean? I don't know.
That's the tricky part.
Well, I keep wanting to go back to what Aleister Crowley said of, every man and woman is a star, right? That's the beginning of the Book of Law. And well, no, what do you think about that phrase, right? So, what do you think it signifies? I mean,
what does what signifies?
Every man and every woman is a star. Like we're each and every one of us is represented, or we're living being.
There's some statements. I'm more of like a textual scholar, like in aspiring textual scholar. But like there are some statements to the effect that it's very fascinating. There's a statement in a text called the Bhagavat Purana, which talks about the universe as a disk of stars that are shaped like two dolphins swimming towards each other. There's your dolphin connection. It's called Shishumar Chakra. Shishumar means dolphin, and chakra means disc or wheel. So Shishumar Chakra. Then there's some other statements to the effect that the stars are Devis and Devas. They're like living entities, like super powerful, beings which maintain the functions of our body. That's where you get like the 33 million gods and goddesses.
Well, the Milky Way is a dolphin.
There you go.
All right.
I always took that Crowley quote way more internally with the whole hero's journey kind of thing, and how all of us are kind of like the gods of our own minds in a way. And we're talking about a man that was extremely egotistical too. So I always kind of thought he meant it in that sort of way, where he was his own god and everybody else we're all
that
gods
is the
Crowleyan.
That is the Crowleyan adaptation of the royal court, right? Because you used to have the bastard royals, and they were fascinating because they would just, they'd wear bright colors, fancy clothes, and it was annoying to deal with. And so what they ended up doing is replacing them with, not really replacing them because a lot of them still are royal bastards, but they have a lot of celebrities now, and celebrities believe that they are their own star. It's not even important what heraldage they come from, right? I think that's a big thing about that idea for Crowley, because he probably was like a bastard of a royal.
I think he is. He probably is. Well, he made several of his own. But
yeah, I just think it's very to stick with the star theme and the dolphins. I think it's very interesting that why would they describe? To me, it looks like, okay, if you have two dolphins swimming into each other in a disc, and like that's how the stars are laid out. It kind of looks like a galaxy, But it's one of those like uncanny things. Like it's very hard to know what people meant a long time ago. Like it's speculation. You're like looking back across the language, and like all the language changes, and you're like, they're talking about dolphin star disc.
I love how David says it. He's like, he asks his rabbi, he's like, is this just is this a joke? And it's like, I have no idea. Like, is this their sense of humor? Who's to say? This is 1,000 years ago. They probably thought this was hilarious. Dolphins,
It's like hitchhikers, goodbye and thanks for the fish.
Well, the dolphin's also a symbol of kama, or desire. So
right?
It's on the flag of the chariot of the god of desire. Kama, like Kama Sutra, Kamadev. So there's a verse, Namaste Himagarbhaya, Namaste Makaradwaj, the dolphin flagged one, the one with the dolphin on his flag.
There are also remnants of the Atlantic.
Yeah, that idea that the water ape theory is also pretty interesting, right? Water ape, because water ape theory, the idea that humans at some point spent so much time in the water that we were like amphibious essentially, and some other animals did not. But so you can see that there's a weird connection there. Whales having fingertips and everything like that. So, is there anything in the Vedas about us being related to whales? You know, like because they're similar, or no?
No, the species are kind of like archetypes that are like they're sort of platonic. The Vedas have a kind of a platonic worldview. So, but there is something interesting returning to the idea of the desire and the dolphin. It says that there's something called the Nasa Adya Suktam, which is in the Rig Veda, and it says in the beginning there was neither existence nor non-existence. It's like one of the oldest textual artifacts that we have that describe like one of the earliest creation myths, right? So, and then it says, what's really interesting is it says that all there was water, right? And it says that one breathed its own breath, born of heat. And then it says desire was the first one who descended upon it and became the first seed of the mind. This is in the Nasadiya Suktam. So there's like a being, a primordial being, and the first identifications it gets is that it is desire, and that it's laying in the waters.
That makes
like
perfect
the water.
sense.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah.
Well, to me, it reminds me of like the demiurge in Gnosticism. You know, like the demiurge is like to me, it's like the action side, whereas like Sophia is the thought, basically, and the desire to like enter into an experience almost is kind of what we're talking about. It's like a middle ground.
Yeah, it says in the Upanishads in a couple places, he said, I am one, I desire to become many. So like desire is like the impetus. Also
very similar to the Egyptian Book of the Dead as well.
Yeah. It's kind of like it's also identified with the seminal principle or male seed, like the seed, right? Which is placed in the waters.
Right.
So there's your male, female, like.
So that's an interesting thing because you talked earlier about Platonic in terms of the way the animals interact with humans and each other. But I also think about Tantra, and Tantra is kind of an interesting thing because the West has hypersexualized everything. So of course, why not Tantra? But like maybe we could explain a bit about the more true, like what is Tantra really? You know?
Well, Tantra goes back. I don't want to dominate this.
No, bro, dominate, bro. Come on.
I would prefer to do a one-on-one where we can just talk about these things. But I'll just quick summary. Tantra comes from the Sanskrit root tut, that, and tra, which is like to cross that. So it became a word for like weaving, to weave, and like things are going one across the other. Like the wolf and the weft, right? Like you have, I can't remember how you say that. But like if you ever did like crocheting or whatever, you got like things going across each other. So Tantra is essentially weaving together. Weaving is like a good word for Tantra.
Only hippies and hipsters were like into this. Sorry.
Matter and spirit. And so matter goes back to the Sanskrit word matra, or mother, right? So you have matter and spirit, Purusha, there's Jiva there. But so like the matter and spirit, so like if we're in matter, like we're spirit, if you have the view that we're spirits embedded in matter, it's kind of like that. It's like the same thing as like, the same trope you see everywhere of like the sky and the earth, or the male and the female. So Tantra, bringing together the male and the female. So for Tantra to become, it's really like a commitment to non-duality. So in order for the tantric view of non-duality to take place, like nothing is repressed, everything is included, in order for it to be like natural, like a natural non-dualism. So they seek the combination of matter and spirit. And I heard one scholar very articulately put it, Dr. Sharma she described matter as the radical immanence of spirit. So matter is only appearing as mundane, but really it's transcendent. And that to me kind of explains why it's sort of impenetrable. Like you can keep going and finding it, teasing out its secrets through science, but you can like never get all the way to the other side. Like it's infinite complexity. It's like dark and profound.
Eventually matter just becomes energy anyway.
Desire is manifest is matter.
But energy becomes matter again. So that's the thing. It seems like it produced the alchemy of water and fire. You know, the alchemy of sun and earth, or sky and earth. I mean, this kind of says it, right? Like the combination, it produces more of itself. It fractals out. It has an alchemical property.
Well, like the proto Shakti, or like energy is like the wife of Indra, like Sachi, right? So like there's a book called Rise of the Goddess in the Hindu tradition, which talks about, like, traces back textual records of like where does this concept of energy, or the female energy, come from, and it goes back to like this primordial waters, in which like the supreme, like undivided spirit is like sleeping in. That's where you get that iconography of Vishnu, like lying in the waters, like sleeping.
Speaking of Vishnu, you know, well, Oppenheimer, the movie's coming out next year, right? Christopher.
I love everything about my friends and the kinds of conversation. Speaking of Vishnu, oh yeah, the Oppenheimer.
Yeah, Oppenheimer.
This is big.
Yeah. Well, he's the one who created. He quoted that.
Right.
The Vishnu and the prince, right? Well, the prince becomes Vishnu, right?
No.
Becoming the destroyer, right? And
he says Kalo Shmi Sarvaloka Kshaya Krit. He says I am time. Kalos me, I am, or Kala. Kala means time, and it also means death. Loka Kshaya Krit. Loka means world, or it means person. Kshaya means destruction, and Krit means the doer. So it's a compound word, and he's like, I am the doer of the destruction of the worlds, or people. I am time. So this is like when there's like the hierophany, with the revelation of like the supreme being all things, you know, which includes but also surpasses destruction. You know, destruction is an aspect of the infinite. So that's
he might have been saying God has become time or something too, because I am, you know, he was kind of a spiritual guy.
That's a translation from the Bhagavad Gita and the hierophany passages.
So when we talk about time and infinite time, I mean, we're talking about Saturn, you know, the god of time. I mean, what's the equivalent of Saturn in Hindu?
Like Dharma or Yama.
Oh,
so
really?
Like Saturn is the god of karma or Shani. Shani is the planet Saturn in Hindu astrology, Vedic astrology, and he is like the deity of karma or action. So it's like very severe, like no fucks given. He will punish you or he will get rewarded depending. Like, but it's like very severe. Like you will not escape the aggressive mercy of Shani.
That's Yama. Hold on.
Yeah, so he's Yama. So it's associated with Yama, who is like the rule, the law.
Shani is associated with Yama. Okay.
Yeah,
it's like the tree of Kabbalistic tree. You know, the column of severity. You know, mercy.
That's a pretty sweet picture. See, these are all great T-shirts. You know, expect to see this in the store soon. What am I looking at here? Tell me about this bird.
Oh, he said to ride on a blackbird. That's funny. It looks like the bald eagle. So America's become death now.
Yeah.
Surprise! Right? Yeah. If anybody's that surprised.
Now it's woke. It's woke death though. So we're okay.
Woke death is the most terrifying kind because you can't rest afterwards. You stay dead with your eyes open.
Nothing personal. It's just business.
Yeah.
We don't care. You can be any kind. We'll kill you. It's okay.
But the black bird, right? So the raven, the crow.
Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't studied too much into
I have become death. The raven.
Or Loki. Loki also has two crows, right?
So time, you said earlier, time and death were kind of interchangeable for
in the Sanskrit word kala. That's just a particular word in those.
Okay. Yeah. But you don't think that there's a connection in terms of time and death more broadly, or what do you?
Of course there is. Yeah. But I mean, like that. I'm just talking about the particular word kala in Oppenheimer's statement. I just like I like everything to be contextualized. I don't. Otherwise,
right?
Yeah. So in order for it to be based, it has to be grounded.
It's fully true.
Just jumping right back to Beetlejuice. The sandworm in Beetlejuice. The origin of the sandworm is from Saturn. So I don't know. I'm trying to see if I can link everything together.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I used to have that, like, one of the few movies I had on like VHS tape with like the commercials when I was a kid, like Beetlejuice. Watch it over and over.
It's a great movie. The cartoon's messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think probably Tim Burton animated himself.
So like the Beetlejuice movie is weird because you've got this little girl who summons a demon because she's lonely and she shouldn't, but because she does, then this demon tries to marry her. And it's a good story because it's like, hey, you know what, kids, don't use your Ouija board. Don't summon demons, because if you summon a demon, the demon might make you marry it and go be their hell bride. You know, that's the kind of lesson the 90s needed. And the metaphor there was good, even if you weren't messing with Ouija boards. Because there was definitely a 35-year-old ex-Hollywood Sunset Strip dude in a black and white suit that you didn't want around your 14-year-old daughter. Am I right, fam? But here's the thing with Beetlejuice. Cartoon. The cartoon takes place right after the events of the movie. And if you remember from the Beetlejuice movie, the way it ends is that the wedding nearly happens. Doesn't quite happen. She kind of gets away without getting married, right? Gist of the story. I hate to be a spoiler, but it happily ever after. Beetlejuice, the cartoon, oppositionally, it takes place in the world where happily ever after is that they got married. She can only see him when she summons him. The intro of the cartoon is literally her being like, Beetlejuice, I haven't seen you. I need to tell you how my day went. I summoned the spirits of Beetlejuice to go to hell, or whatever the thing is. And it's far more creepy. And so it's a 14-year-old girl with her like disattached New English self-absorbed parents and the weird popular kids at school and the nerds. And she's married to this she's 14 and she's got a relationship with this 35-year-old living dead demonic character. And I don't know. So that was always a weird thing to me. I thought that was a weird cartoon.
It's pretty dark.
I think there's something deeper than in meaning. I mean, just the fact that he's wearing the duality of black and white binary coat
and the purple, yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think.
I think sometimes it's kind of like visionary states, right? Like some of these artists get into like vision. Most artists won't talk about visionary. They always talk in these like Freudian symbology. If you like talk to any like artists in LA, they'll tell you all about it. But
I know, right? Everyone's like, isn't it weird that these people in Hollywood are into conspiracy theories and magic? I'm like, bro, they're liberal arts students. What did you expect to happen?
Yeah. But no, I think a lot of them are actually just there's like a visionary aspect to it, like it's kind of cool. I don't know. I think Beetlejuice is like kind of cool, but yeah, you just creeped me out, Andres, with that insight.
That's how I felt as a kid. I was like, dude, why?
I never realized that.
Yeah. If you saw the movie right beforehand, it definitely messes up the whole perspective. You're like, what is going on? But even if you hadn't, you're like, dude, why is she hanging out with that guy? He's too old for her.
Roll back. Can you go back up? You see? Yeah. So it's starting in October 2019. Well,
really?
The pandemic started in October 18. The Chinese what is that? The military game, the war, and also Bill Gates and the John Hopkins pandemic exercise was on October 18th, 2019. You see? So there's exact correlation there. That video started to dim just when all of this happened, the lockdown and everything. Yeah, it's very significant. I think
you guys can say Beetlejuice as much as you want. Just I think if you say it right, it's 3 times of the Betelgeuse. I think that's where you get in trouble. That's where all of a sudden the pandemic starts up again or something. So
yeah, it's interesting. The number 3, also.
Right? Yeah, I mean all good things, but not all good things. A lot of things come in 3.
Yeah, so it's I don't know. I'm trying to figure this.
Aboriginal groups of South Australia have shared oral tales of the variable brightness of Betelgeuse for at least 1,000 years.
I wonder what the origin of that name is.
Let's see. Etymology.
Wait, it did say beat it. Wait, go back to that. With the picture of that old
pit.
that gentleman. What's his name?
Years. What? Light year. Where? This guy here?
Right here. And it did say. Just scroll up a little bit more. It says. Where does it say Beetlejuice? Right here. I just saw around here. Because I was trying to find the origin of the name.
I'll just go to the etymology. So etymology, Betelgeuse is often mistranslated as armpit of the central one. In his 1899 work, Star Names and Their Meanings, American amateur naturalist Richard Hinckley Allen stated their derivation was from Ibit al-Jawza, which he claimed degenerated into a number of forms, including Bed el-Juzah, Beat al-Jiz, and Betel Guys, Betai Guy Goose, Betel Guy Goose, Betel Geese, and Betelgeese, and to more forms Betel Goose, Betel Geis, Betel Guys, Betel Go. The star was named Beldingo in the Alphonsine tables. An Italian Jesuit priest and astronomer Giovanni Battista Riccioli had called it Betelgeuse or Betelgo.
Bechtel.
Bechtel is a German word, isn't it? Bechtel, the telecommunication company. Let's see.
Bechtel. Yeah, it seems weird. Creepy logo looks like something from the comic book world. They're like, tonight on Spider-Man, you know.
Drink
Bechtel, an American corporation construction management firm in San Francisco. Okay.
That sounds shady right off the bat.
That's the kind of place that would get a red planet and name it Bechtel. I see what's going on here. Headquartered in Reston, Virginia. Wikipedia is that they're from the Silicon Valley. We all know this is just if you're from San Francisco and DC, God help you. I've done it. Get help. All right. Bechtel's business began in 1898. Okay, so it's a Yakuza kind of Western equivalent. Long time. World War II, overseas expansion, and the nuclear age. So they do mega projects. Went to Saudi Arabia and built the pipeline in Venezuela. Began nuclear power in 1949. The Hoover Dam.
Can screw up to where
31. Bechtel joined other contractors in the West to form 6 Companies Inc. A consortium created a bid for a contract from the U.S. government to construct Hoover Dam. 6 companies.
Oh my god! Now this is getting really weird.
I feel like I remember Bechtel being involved directly with like World War II or something.
We're almost there, yeah. So nuclear age.
Feels like we're close.
Yeah. So let's see. During World War II, United States Maritime Commission invited the company to bid for a contract to build half of their 60 cargo ships. The company had no prior experience in shipbuilding, but bid for the entire 60 ships between 1941 and 1945. Bechtel's wartime shipyards, including Marin Ship and Cal Ship. Oh my God. This just synced with me because now I got to find out. Oh, man. Okay, so Seacliff Ship.
Is this a Beetlejuice, man?
Is this
Is that the Santa Cruz ship, bro?
Is the Santa Cruz ship a Bechtel? I'm freaking out right now. What? That all makes sense.
All the sharks are over there, man.
Oh, man.
Well, isn't that like a natural reef right now?
Yeah, basically. God, that used to be where the Shriners used to party. They used to have all kinds of cool parties on that boat. Seriously, you know, I've seen some pictures.
Is that when they sacrifice the little children? Okay.
Allegedly. God, bro, we're trying to keep this clean.
I know.
I'm just kidding. But this ship was probably, let me see if I can find out now if I type in Seacliff ship, built by 6 company or Beck something. Who does it say it was built by? Doesn't say.
I'm trying to connect it with the Hoover Dam because 2 months ago Hoover Dam just had an explosion. The generator exploded.
General Dynamics electric boat. Okay, sorry, keep going.
And also Hoover Dam has that star map thing. Oh, we talked about it, right? Yeah.
The company that built that thing also built all these crazy electric nuclear submarines. So that's nice. Good job, Connecticut. That's nice. But yeah, I mean, California Shipbuilding Corporation. and the Marin ship, working with Bechtel. They did nukes in 1949, nuclear power, experimental breeder reactor 1 in Idaho, right? So the Idaho nuclear reactor. Did you know that there's a nuclear reactor in Idaho? Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting because it's also on top of a geothermal area. This is right where Idaho's got the most hot springs in the United States. I'm pretty sure of all the states.
Oh, wow.
And in the southeast right here, this is one of the major hotspots for geothermal energy. So the irony being you could just use geothermal at that point for the steam power. So who knows what's really going on.
Yeah, it's a volcano. That's what it is.
Dude, so what do you guys think about super volcanoes? Because I've been thinking about this in terms of like the idea of the full-on destruction of society becoming from a volcano. Seems like the most likely thing. Like everyone's talking about the super volcano, Yellowstone. I don't know if everyone's talking about it, but you know,
Yellowstone.
Even Caldera's all over the world too.
The Amazon.
There's one in India, right?
Hey, everybody at once. Let's do it again. That was fun.
Sorry about that.
Andy, you say something.
Well, I was just saying that there's calderas all over the world. There's big ones, bigger than Yellowstone, I believe. I think there's one in Indonesia or something like that. That's massive.
Oh, the one that started the tsunami in Sumatra.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, that's more like an underwater. Oh, yeah. I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, but this Yellowstone super volcano is so big, right? Because it's what's going on. How do I even find it? So here's the thing: it's like as it doesn't explode for longer, the pressure builds up underneath it until the theoretical summer blockbuster is that it blows up everything all the way to Florida, basically, you know, or worse. It should be like maybe even worldwide disaster because of
that would be enough to block out the sun for sure.
Yeah. You know, well, you know, the TV show, you know, the Yellowstone, you know, with Kevin Costner, is making a lot of headlines right now because of this. It's a neoconservative show. You know, it's anything but. You know, but I'm just wondering because
I like Kevin Costner for a lot of reasons, but you know, the time I saw him on Bill Maher in 2003 talking about the values of the Patriot Act and why we need to actually have Gitmo and things like that, I was like, bro, you're an actor, stay an actor. You know, just like this is the thing I don't get about actors. It's like, you know,
well, that's the thing he is because nowadays, have you heard of an interview with him lately? He's probably flipped on the other side of things now.
True.
I mean, remember back then the Republicans were the bad guys. They were the ones censoring everything around 9/11, Bush, and all that.
Yeah,
that was the portrayal from that side.
Right.
It's all
Dances with Wolves, fine piece of cinema.
Well, Andy,
there's Mount Doom, right?
I've been saying that for a long time too. You know, it's all they're playing good cop, bad cop. You know,
absolutely.
You say Mount Doom from Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, they just released that, right? What happens at the end is like the mountain blows up.
Give us all the spoilers.
Give me, mountain.
Please give me.
You didn't watch it?
The Trop? No, I did not watch Trop. Okay. Trop, the Ring of Power. Trop.
You didn't watch Trollop?
I did not watch Trop. But tell me about it. Tell me about it, and please save everybody some money and time.
Very slow. It's very slow, and then something kind of exciting happens at the end of that season. That's like
go ahead. Spoiler alert, guys! If you really care about watching the show,
I'm not. I was just pointing out the synchronicity of Mount Doom.
So I know that there's a volcano. Someone did tell me that episode 6 or 7 they start talking about the volcano. And my problem with the show was literally just that it was boring. I don't care whether it is. Yeah, you know, it's just a bunch of walking around and talking in front of a green screen a lot of time. But if there's anything of value there, I want to hear it. And I love the idea that the rings are forged in the volcano. What kind of Freemasonry secrets are these that you're keeping from me that I'm not allowed to know unless I go through the class of actually watching the damn?
I don't think there was anything, you know.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like, no, bro, you got to see it for yourself. I'm like,
no, I was shaking my head and laughing with you about how long it takes just to get to the volcano.
Sorry, I was talking to you.
Is any of it canon? Is any of it at all canon?
I heard they can't even legally go canon because they're not allowed to use the original origin of Mordor, right? They're not allowed to use the youthful version of the character, and so they've created a whole new character background and everything like that. So of course that's going to piss off all the fans, and so they already went into it knowing that. They're like, well, you know what? We don't need the fans. But then after that, they're like, oh crap, we really screwed this up. People are pissed. I mean, most of the documentaries on YouTube say what went wrong. Why do people hate it? Those are the titles of the damn.
Right. So that's the ideology that's being pushed.
It's like a coin toss for me to either watch the House of Dragon or watch this, and I decided to stick with House of Dragon. But now the season's over, and I have to go through this.
Slow.
One now.
It's slow. They're playing
the. You guys, I don't know. You guys seen Warrior Nun?
Interesting.
Warrior Nun's based.
Joan of Arc, right?
Brittany showed it to me. Yeah, it's like a hyphy, futuristic Joan of Arc, but like, if you think about it, this is as off of Joan of Arc as Lord of the Rings is, except they're okay with it. They're admitting it. This is like, yeah, we're gonna update it. So this I'm okay with because they're not pretending that it's literally the same thing. It's like,
right.
It's like when comic books have like a new kid or something like that instead of just like destroying the original IP.
I don't understand why there's no Silver Surfer movie.
That's because that's about every American. Anybody who was told as a kid, you can do anything, you can change the world. They're the same people. They're people that have forgotten who they are and are destroying their homes. They're just like killing other people's homes for the lack of memory of their home. That is what we've become. That is the American industrial complex. I love the Silver Surfer.
Go back to the Warrior Nun. The only reason I heard of that show was because the actress, what's her name, Alba Baptista, she's dating Chris Evans right now.
Oh, really?
So that became a headline. Like, okay, she's dating Captain America. So I every time there's actors and actresses dating, there's some kind of weird correlation. He's in the Marvel universe, right? And so Warrior Nun, I don't know what that belongs to.
Who's that guy from SNL? Kanye was upset at. Oh my god, the guy dating wife.
Oh, Peterson.
Peterson. Yeah, Peterson. Peterson.
No, sorry. Pete Davidson.
There you go. Pete Davidson's dating somebody. I don't know. I'm not good at this either. I don't give a damn about celebrities, and I know that.
The way I see is that there's some weird matchmaker going on. Like they're trying to say, "Hey, put this together and see what kind of chaos ensues."
Yeah, I mean, he is dealing. I mean, it's interesting watching him go like full handler. Like he's just like all of these messes that he's a full handler for. It's pretty wild. Mistress of Ben Affleck.
What are you talking about?
They're just throwing everybody's ex-wives at him. Here, have this one. Try this one.
Yeah. So I mean, let's see if I could do the Mila Jovovich is the example, right? I can't spell her name, and I'm Croatian. That's embarrassing. MK Ultra handler.
You're talking about Luc Besson? Luc Besson is like a crazy. He's been dating like all these 14-year-olds.
He's a handler. What's his name? Luke. Luke?
He was handler of The Professional. What's her name?
Right. Yeah. So. I mean, it's not just that. At a certain point, Pete Davidson is going to be this old, and you're going to be like, okay. But for now, people are like, oh, whatever. And it's like you look at these pictures, like Brian Warner, Marilyn Manson, Freemason, like all these pictures of him with like handling people, and he's constantly the people that are like right on the edge that are super. And God bless Johnny Depp, but like his life was really turned upside down. Let's make all the excuses with Amber Heard that we can, but he's addicted to like crazy pills, and he's starting to look like the wife from Curb Your Enthusiasm. So it sucks. It sucks. But then you got these kinds of characters that are pretty straight laced. I think Brian Warner plays the craziest looking person he can because he probably is pretty straight laced, except for maybe he's a deviant sexually or something, allegedly. Who knows? But it sounds like he's mostly just the handler for the people that are a little too wild. These kids that they can get controlled by drugs, because it's so easy. Some people, it takes is drugs.
Who's Brian Warner?
That's Marilyn Manson.
Oh,
that's
for real. Okay.
That's his actual name. Sorry. Right.
Wait, you trying to tell me it's not the older brother from the Wonder Years, man?
I'm not convinced.
I listen to like classical music and King Diamond.
That's like the funniest meme I've ever seen, man. He could have been him. He could have been the same guy.
But anyway, I've been seeing a lot of these things like billionaire soundproof room in house. This is I've been seeing so many examples of billionaires building these soundproof rooms in their homes and having people come work for them. They sign these NDAs, and that's what they sued Marilyn Manson for, because they're like, dude, you when. And this, I get it. Like, you don't want to, like, some people, when they have a fight with their girlfriend, they're like, you know what? Don't go to bed angry. Just like, no, just if there's a soundproof room, I get it. That's all I'm saying. It's an option. So, but that's probably why he got in trouble. And
since you're talking about handler, can we talk about Kanye West? Like the barrage of stuff that came out of his mouth when he was in the car.
Yeah, sure.
You saw that video, right? He basically just like spilled the whole Illuminati bean. It's just saying,
Beyonce.
Bill Cosby got his son killed. Michael Jordan got his dad killed.
Mother was sacrificed.
It's sacrificed for this success and this and that. And then he went on to talk about his handler, which is the nutritionist. What's his name? I don't even know who he is.
Papper something.
Remember when you said Bill Cosby was innocent? So just to remember that we are still talking about Kanye West here, and people do change what they say week to week. But
well, I take it with a grain of salt. But the thing is that he was pretty candid, and at the same time, he's just saying that he was saying he's being fed with medication. He's like, well, when I'm off medication, I can talk like this. But
watch this video from Ludo Ndlovu, which is she's a Botswana oracle, and so she talks a lot about living in Botswana. I met her in Argentina. She speaks like 6 languages, including German, and she's been all over the world, but she's back in Botswana. And American celebrities will come and pay people to do these rituals, particularly American celebrities, Black American celebrities, not naming names, but some of them were named here of people who showed up. And you can see the story, essentially the idea of human sacrifice of a family member in order to extend your fame or career is a huge thing that goes on. And who can say like what percentage that is from the American side going there to do it, but from her perspective, it's got to be a lot of people that are coming over, like that are famous or pseudo famous. You have to imagine how many people are just, this week's YouTuber or this week's Spotify artist or whatever they're getting. And then they get to come to Africa so long as they full on, what's that movie? Midsummer kind of thing going on. Bring a friend.
Maybe your firstborn.
Leave them there. Yeah, exactly. That's a and that's not everybody, but that kind of magic exists. That kind of people do that. That she's seeing that happen all the time, and it's bad for the community because then you've got people that are literally sacrificing people. It's hard to adapt in this world, right? And so they have to just kind of accept magic exists. It's very culturally accepted in parts of Botswana and different areas. Meanwhile, you go somewhere else. Go to Nigeria, go to the north of Nigeria, for instance, full Muslim. The witch hunts that you hear about 16th century Salem, way gnarlier right now in the Islamic African countries, like that are witch hunting. And they're, these are people that literally, the difference is it's like their religion. It'd be like if we went after all of the Mormons or something like that. You got Muslims, Christians, and then you've got this other group, but this other group, they're following the closest thing to the religion that they've always followed, so that they can.
Yeah, it's terrible if there's like some tradition that undergoes erasure due to like another tradition. I mean, the human sacrifice stuff is kind of scary.
It's global. I mean, look at you look at South America. The volcano erupts all the time. They drag these these mummified children, up in the mountains of Peru, and
as elders from an indigenous tribe die from COVID-19, young new members must fight to stop their language from dying with them. I mean, except for the COVID part, this is legit. Like, so many. I mean, maybe that is too. I'm just saying that at the very least, you can follow this train of thought that there are lots of people that are just being the fire. If I could find the fire, there was in Brazil a few years ago. Brazil's fire destroyed an entire everything. All of it was gone, including everything they have on about 2 languages that are going to be lost forever now. All of the work that they had, all of the indexes, all the recordings of anyone still speaking the language that no longer, these people stopped living in the 80s and their kids didn't learn it. So, this is happening right around us. This was only 2018, the fire destroyed everything.
It's all cleansing. Start over.
Fire doesn't heat history.
I don't know. I kept trying
the
to think
first hymn. Oh, sorry.
But
go
yeah.
ahead.
The first hymn in the Rig Veda goes to fire, to the deity of fire. Saying Agni. Right.
Why do you think that is? Is it to burn something? Is to create? Or
well, because fire is like the messenger of the gods. So you can put an offering into a fire, and it is transmuted, and the smoke rises up into the sky, to the heavens. So fire is like the Duta of the Devas. He's the messenger or the go-between.
That's true.
I think that's somewhat of a pan phenomenon, not just India. Like there's people sacrificing things into a fire to transmute upper realms.
Look at China. You look at China. You get China. They're burning all this cash. They're burning all this fake money. Into the burning pit, and they throw a whole boat. It's all made of like paper. If they throw a car. My grandma's lonely. She wants a Jeep. She wants to drive around heaven. So throw the whole thing. The gigantic effigies. It's burning everything. The Chinese believe in the material world that exists and beyond. People have their needs up there, so burn whatever they need. Money. Burn money. I guess it's a hell. If you look at,
probably different systems in different places. Like I can say for the Indian thing, the offering or the dravya is placed into the fire. That's called homa, and then that is actually nourishing the gods. So in that case, it's the thing that you get is some other thing, but it's not the thing that you burned. So maybe there's different systems in different places.
Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. You gotta have something. Okay, sorry. If you want to be with me,
look at the Hellbank note.
Really quickly, I just wanted to on the fire subject, and then I'll go. Wait, you know what? Just so you know, you can trust me. Hellbank note right there. Okay, Las Vegas depends if you're how you want to go. Las Vegas de Valencia, Spain's annual festival of fire. So I was in Spain, walking around. All of a sudden, kids are screaming. Dudes are picking them up, bringing them over to a bunch of styrofoam statues that people have built of demons, goblins, and questionable ethnicities. I gotta say, this kind of reminded me of something from like the Eastern Europe in the 15th. It was very Borgor. But then the kids are screaming, and then they don't put them in the fire. They put them really close to the fire, and the kids run off. And then they go grab another kid, and they do it again. And it's like, ha 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 ha, we're gonna throw you in the fire. Now I'm like, what the hell is happening here? So apparently, find out in Valencia, what they do is, then they've been doing this for a long time. They take a bunch of their stuff when it's old, instead of taking it to the dump, they burn it in the middle of the street. And they also make these amazing statues out of, again, like styrofoam, and burn them. We're creating this huge environmental disaster, right? But I'm like, how long have you guys been doing this? I mean, clearly you didn't have styrofoam forever. Oh yeah, no, originally it wasn't styrofoam. Originally it was like rich people and their stuff. And I was like, wait, what? So is this like, and like when you say rich people, like, do you mean like the Spanish Inquisition? Are you talking about Muslims and Jews right now? Like, is that really happening in Spain? And then you turn your head, and then there's this thing going on. These Knights Templar looking.
Yeah, the hooded.
The Spanish penitents walk by, and I'm like, I gotta go. I don't know what is that, but what is going on here? Yeah, they're like, no. You guys,
no fear now.
You Americans, you guys pervert everything. That's not what's going on here. I'm like, I don't know. Do you know what's going on here? Here's a couple of pictures again. It literally, I will never be able to go to Disneyland again on non-sober. I'd have to be sober the entire time, or I might start screaming. You know what I mean? Like, it just pulls you into a Vietnam flashback, just being at this thing. And there's fires everywhere, and you're in the center of this horrifying thing with these characters. It's a beautiful celebration. I mean, luckily I've been to Burning Man enough times where I don't know if I'd be able to handle it. But this is, I mean, look at this. It's crazy. And then the kids' stuff and everything. And this is not just witches. This is a picture of a fireman and a family burning alive.
Where do these things come from? This was in somebody's
people make this stuff for the fire. They spend all year doing this, and there's like, you can go in the middle of town a couple of weeks early, and there's just like hundreds of these in a mall that no one's
very
working.
Metal.
Super, yeah, Pixar metal.
So this has nothing to do with the Spanish Inquisition. I mean,
wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But yeah, no, I think it does. Is kind of the point. It does have to do with the Spanish Inquisition. It means the removal of the Mazarabs. Less important than the Jews was the Arabs and the Muslims, and the fact that they had a secular economy, which you just had to pay taxes, state taxes into. They didn't care what your religion was. You still had to pay state taxes into it. So eventually, when they lost control, a lot of these other families, the Aragon families, started saying, we want your houses, we want your areas. And then in the 18th and 19th century, the holiday was adapted to be about, kicking out some of the elite, but more about saving the homes of the impoverished families that lived in the apartments now. And so now we've just got this confused holiday that has nothing to do with what it used to be, except I think the kids who have no context get it the clearest, right? They're like, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's better just respond correctly to my parent. I'll tuck in my shirt and learn my prayers. Like that is how they all respond, because they literally have to remember these kids are being picked up and carried over to the thing, and they're like 3 feet long, so they're just screaming like ah! And the dude,
that's crazy.
And the guy who's carrying the kids, he's like, he looks as happy and loving as Noel. He's just like, yep. I just want to give them what I had as a kid. Want to give them the best opportunity that they. When I was a kid, I loved it when people used to carry me under the fire, and I thought I was good. Really, I don't even know what it means, but it impacted me. That's kind of how it felt. It was pretty bad. So pretty cool.
So this is not as crazy as this is just as crazy as the running of the bull.
Yeah.
I mean, what's wrong with these people?
I love the running of the bull.
It's like we're free from the Moors. We're free from the people. And then now they're like, we're gonna go there and wipe out all the Native Americans. Like they just got crazy.
On one hand, it's a complicated issue. So the real problem with the running of the bulls is that women get raped and things like that during major holidays. That is the thing, because people get super drunk and horrible things happen. In my opinion, and I'm this is not medical advice or anything like that, but I'm just saying, in my opinion, a bunch of people that do this, like this, I don't want to say like less traffic. I don't know what to say here. This is okay for me. If a bunch of people want to literally fight bulls to the death and aren't going to live through it, I'm all right with that.
I'm all right with that.
That's the thing. The thing I don't like super much is that they drug the bull so that the humans have a chance.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
That's bullshit. Yeah, they should.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, fun about that.
Yeah.
Like sedated.
If you have 1,000 people versus a bull, I think that's enough. I think that's fair. And the bull's, he's going to take out like dozens of people in the process, and that's what it is. It's what it was. What it should be. Maybe not. I'm not saying bring back non-sedated bull, but yeah, I am. I'm saying if you're going to do it,
if you can't handle it, go chase a wheel of cheese down a hill, right? I mean,
right?
That's another weird one.
Dude. Chase wheel cheese.
What is
the cheese chasers?
You know what? Vegetarians, though, they came up with a running of the bulls that doesn't hurt anybody. I wish they would do it the other way, though. Is they should all have like a team pushing a giant wheel, the biggest wheel of cheese up the hill, and if you get to the top of the hill first or something, that would be cool. Yeah, you can drink. You can have a beer.
Where is this thing at? I
can't remember what country
this is. England, is it?
It's England, I think. Yeah.
England.
Clearly, who else would be?
These are the people that go to Buckingham Palace and take pictures.
Crazy giant cheese,
like all from Manchester.
It's not even that big. Look at that little piece of cheese here.
That's not even. Yeah, I thought we were. I want to see.
They're getting killed because of this little roll of cheese.
Dude, a couple people have died. I think this is a very violent event. Like just like running of the bulls, could be worse. Because once you get that momentum, it's all over.
You know what I think is going on is that look at the World War III is about to happen. It's like man, all this testosterone.
The stormtrooper is running from an inflatable Tyrannosaurus Rex after a wheel of cheese. 2020, all right, that 2022 vibe right there.
Jesus, I hope my insurance will cover this one. Let me flip. Jeez, what the heck, man? It's funny. I
have to see all these people in the hospital, man.
Dude, British people drunk, passed out in the streets. You ever been in Britain? And it's just like constantly everywhere I go. It was just like, what's happening? People are they dying? And you're like, oh no, they're just literally British, and it's rough. It's rough out there. I don't know. God, just wild.
I didn't see that at all in London or anything, but when I got to Liverpool, it was a different story.
Liverpool.
Liverpool. Liverpool.
God, that wheel tease though.
I should go to Europe right after a soccer match. I want to like jump, sacrifice myself, sitting in the middle of the stadium and get killed. I don't know.
That was a thing recently. What was it? I mean, UVA players react to teammates' deaths. I mean, this is the thing. It's not wheels of cheese. It's sometimes there's mass shootings, and then there was the 125.
When did they get their guns? They don't have any guns.
125 killed in Indonesia soccer stadium crush. This just happened in October, where the stadium collapsed and killed a bunch of people in the sports event.
It's happening. Oh my god! How recently was this?
This was October 3rd.
Holy crap! What is with soccer stadiums collapsing?
I mean, right?
It's so violent,
man. You think of all the sports of soccer besides hockey, right? I mean, the soccer is the most violent because it's so hard to wait for 1 point. To score 1 point. It takes a whole hour to get 1 point.
Well,
and people
also, I don't know if I'm barking up I don't know if I'm barking up the wrong tree or not, but I know that like there's a game described in the Popol Vuh, and it's kind of like soccer, but it's with a human head.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like, I don't know. I wonder if that has some very loose muscle memory tied to like the modern violence behind soccer. That's the Mayan holy book, basically.
But the Mayan version, they don't even kick, right? They use a hip, right? They use a hip.
Yes,
and it has to be the strongest.
How do I spell that?
Polpa. P-O-P.
They sacrifice the winner.
The guy who ULVU.
I was there. I was at Chichen Itza, and I saw the hoops, the stone hoops, where they use the hip to it's like a human head, right? That's no soccer ball. It's a human head.
Fake news. It was all Quidditch.
Like ancient shit. Like literally, the game was played by the characters in the mythological story. I'm pretty sure. So I'm not sure if that is a connection or not. I'm just talking on my ass. I don't know. No, but it seems interesting. All the violence behind soccer.
Absolutely, yeah.
It became this is pretty much the origin of soccer. What did you say? I mean,
is it? I know the Popol Vuh. I don't know any connection, that anyone would actually confirm about that to soccer, but it does. It's kind of similar.
Like the Cortez saw it. Wow, look at this. That's pretty cool. Let's bring it back to Spain. Tell the Pope about it.
I mean, the idea that people were fighting to be the most famous so they could die young and well-fed. I kind of see that as a thing that makes sense, and it's what a lot of people are doing right now. Like rollerball is about that same idea. People that are gladiators that want to die young, that want to live hard, live fast, die young. God, I need a Japanese poster. I'm a big fan of 70s movies with Japanese posters. There was a Hellbank note you wanted to bring up, Eddie. Oh, but you tell me about that while I look into the history of soccer.
Yeah, that's just the money that they burn, upon the anniversary of death and all that.
Wait, they burn this? What do you mean?
Yeah, well, they throw it into a bin. They first light up the fire in a metal bin, and then make sure it's hot enough, and they just start throwing the money in.
Is this a magic thing that make you more money or something?
Well, I mean, this is a modern version. The older version is actually just a plain paper with what do you call it? The gold, the sheet. What do you call it? The super thin gold
foil.
The gold leaf. The gold leaf, in the middle of the paper. So they throw those in, but these are like modern, and these are cheap.
So so this is like a Chinese magic thing. If I throw magic talisman, fake hell money in, I'm putting energy into the afterlife or the other world, Elseworld, and then they're bringing it back. How's it work?
No, this is basically the
I want to make money from hell. Tell me how to do it.
Okay, no, this is the Chinese Western Union. Okay, so send money to those in need in hell.
God, I really got that wrong.
Poor grandpa, he has no pants on. He's in a mountain of.
Is that literally what this is for? Is like you're supposed to support people in the afterlife? Is that literally what this is? You're supposed to give money to people in the afterlife?
Yeah.
Wow.
You're sending money home. Fuck.
Chinese.
God, they really built it into the.
Yeah, money is not a Jewish monopoly. They're Chinese. They really care about money. It's like send it to hell. Send,
Right, Marco Polo was
it's not
using
enough.
banknotes from China. So I mean, but that's an interesting idea because of the idea of sending it to hell. I mean, you're not getting anything back. You're saying though, this is just to support the dead.
Well, it's good karma, I suppose.
It is good karma. Okay, but that's just kind of
there to support the ancestors.
Yeah. But I mean, if you go to Taiwan, I mean, I don't know about China, but in Taiwan, they used to burn. It was ashes everywhere. It was so disgusting. I mean, I basically have to endure it. Especially during the Hellgate, the Chinese not Halloween, but what month is that? I think it's in September or October. That's when the Hellgate is open. It's kind of like the Day of the Dead in Mexico. Where the
another synchronous global sort of.
Say it again. No, what?
It's another. What is that? Another. So there's a spirit. You're saying there's a spirit day also in October, November.
Let me look it up. I'm forgetting so much of my own culture.
Yeah, I am all for a holiday. I'm all for any people that burn money as a holiday. I think that is the coolest idea. I mean, granted, though, sending fake money to hell seems a little weird, but that's what
the Chinese.
I might be culturally insensitive.
Okay, it does say. If you just go to Hell Money on Wikipedia, it explains it. Basically, there is the
19th episode. Good job, 19. Okay, Hell Money from China. X-Files. Ming Chao, modernized form of joss paper, printed to resemble legal tender. Joss paper is incense paper. Oh, so it smells nice too. Is that the idea? Incense money.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just like plain burning.
Oh man, coming soon to the Xirtus store, there will be hell notes with my face and Andy's, Eddie's, David's. Noel, I'm gonna get you on there too. It'll look cooler because it'll be Vedic. That's gonna be worth it. I just learned how to do that actually. How to do the line face to make it look like money printing, like the
cool.
Yeah, dude, look at the gold leaf there.
Engraving, you mean?
No, what's it called? Where like money Photoshop?
I know there's a word for it too. I can't think of it.
Lines.
Engraving.
Well, it's like a picture within a picture, basically.
This kind of thing here. So you do a half tone, and then there's you do a vertical and then a horizontal line, and each one you have set to hot and cold or light and dark. And yeah, so I'll someday I'll just release a bunch of money. But it'll be hell notes that you have to burn. It's only legal tender in hell. It'll say right on the money.
Don't forget to put a little owl in the quarter.
Oh yeah, I'll put it. Oh man, it'll be. Where's the dollar?
Certified.
Yeah,
I feel like people miss. You guys.
Sorry.
Again? Oh yeah. Okay.
With my son.
I gotta get running too. It's getting late.
To a lot of interesting places here.
Yeah. Let me. Noel,
good to meet you, man.
Before we go, want to just go through my Twitter real quick, just see if
I'll stay with you. Let's finish it. Let's just Noel really quickly. Is there a site that I can link people to find your stuff,
bro? I just like what you're doing. I think it's cool.
Base. All right, we're gonna do a one-on-one.
Be here, man.
Let's do a one-on-one over the weekend or next week, and we'll talk.
Cabrillo, good old time.
Dude, there's no Cabrillo anymore.
What?
They changed the name. It's gonna be Aptosia or Palisades or some horrible. They're getting rid of the name of Cabrillo. Yeah.
Like, is he a conquistador?
Yeah, exactly. Cabrillo changes.
Nobody can pronounce his name right anyway. They're like Cabrillo.
Cabrillo was funny. I used to say Cabrihab because it was like 13th grade. But yeah, they're changing the name.
I actually lived there, man, like under one of the buildings.
Yeah. This is This is probably one of the biggest tragedies to me in the world. But that
library in
it just seems super racist, and the name it's going to be some like white person thing, like Palisade. Like they did this to Truckee, Squaw Valley. Squaw Valley changed their name recently. Squaw Valley, California, is now called Placer County Palisades, Tahoe. Now they now call it
the actual the ski resort is no longer called Squaw.
I believe they're changing the name. Yeah, the Winter Olympic Squaw Valley sign might even have to change. But yeah, it's now called Palisades. So we are living in hell. So you better get some hell money together. And guys, I know he's not a grifter, but if you wanted to go to the APM Advanced Philosopher Means there. He is occasionally.
No, that's yours, bro.
It says my name on it, so it's pretty clearly mine. But
I'm just trying to help you out because we don't want to get it taken down. It's a pretty. There's a lot of free speech there. It's cool.
Yeah, we try our best. We're doing our best.
I can't show nudity. I think somebody was trying to show like 100 Days of Sodom or something out there. I was like, oh man, I have to buy this.
100 Days of Sodom. Is that
what was that? What was that thing called?
Yeah, 100 Days of Sodom. You guys, don't watch this movie. Don't read this book. Don't watch this movie. Don't learn about.
Get
that sounds like the Human Centipede or something.
It's kind of the 19th century 70s movie equivalent about this idea of
post something like that on there.
It's a book by Marcus de Sade all about 120 days of being tortured sexually by this elite person. It's very important. If you want to know what the elite do to people when they force them to be furniture in their homes and hold up lamps and eat feces, I mean, it gets really bad, is the point. But they made a movie about it in the 70s, and they forced us to watch it in university. Go to Tartary Discord on tartarynova.com. Here you will find even less censorship and even more stuff. So data will be found there. I tried
to find you on Minds. I think I added you, but I went there. I couldn't figure out Minds.
Minds.com/Xirtus will bring you right to me. Here's Andreas Xirtus on Minds. I have 237 subscribers. That's adorable.
Nice.
Yeah, right. Can't do any wrong with that. All right, Noel, I appreciate you. Harry Bull, I will see you soon, buddy.
None of us.
Hey guys.
Good to see you.
And Andy, you can. Do you want to wait a minute to finish Eddie's thing, or you had to get to your family?
Sure. Oh, that's cool, man.
Eddie, what was the link?
Weekend review.
Yeah,
weekend review.
To go to the Facebook or to the to Twitter?
You're still banned from Facebook, right? You can't get it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay.
I got 10 more days. Just want to see why I'm banned from Facebook because it's still up. I think. Hold on, if I can find it.
Your last famous post.
Yeah, like they were upset at me. God, how do I do this? If I search for Andreas in the group, search Andreas Nicholas. That's my secretly real life name. Where was it? I don't know how far back I have to go. Basically, it was a picture of Johnny Bravo naked in the shower with the word idiot. Okay, so I posted this, which was like, hey, dude, stop hypersexualizing because it's not good for you. You know what I mean? Like, that's me saying it. It's not even that funny. And then someone was like, yeah, but how do women see men? And then I was like, bro, I mean, they like, you know. And then they were like, that's not okay. I put dialectic right there. I thought that was. And so apparently that's okay if it's on Facebook still, but 30 days of no speech. Life is rich. Yeah.
You know, I'm starting to see my posts on Facebook getting deleted. I mean, automatically. I don't know why. I mean, because I was posting. What was I posting today? And it would never make it to the top of the list. I'm like, what happened? It just keep rolling down to the bottom. It became invisible, basically. But I'm not banned for posting it. It's weird. Okay, so here we go. So what is this one? Oh no, this is something weird. No, I don't know how to explain this one. Jay Leno. Jay Leno was burned. His
right. Didn't even talk about that.
It's like a T. Was it a 4T model? And it just blew up.
Yeah.
Terrifying. I mean,
why does he?
I don't love Jay Leno, but I don't want him to catch fire either. So I don't know. It sucks.
My chin.
Yeah. Oh my god. Too soon. No. It is Jay Leno. But like seriously, like I do feel bad for him, and I feel bad for his family, and like anybody who gets burned alive, like that's pretty brutal. Luckily, he's okay. Supposedly, like he says he's recovering. Yeah. So
I heard it's something. Somebody said 90% of his body. I'm like, no.
Oh, what?
He wouldn't survive that.
Yeah, Jay Leno recovering. He should be okay. It's 3rd-degree burns though, so it is pretty serious. And at his age, like that's pretty messed up. That's a bad situation.
Gasoline, man. So
yeah.
So what else is there? Oh yeah, this one. This is weird.
Oh, the Fergie cap is so important. Not just because Tim likes to wear it. It's also just a symbol of the non-nobility. It's like when you think of all these colonizers that build these little meritocracies and they build their Freemason towns, like the Fergie cap is on a little stick, like a mushroom, every single time.
Yeah, well, I'm actually, the origin was from Mithras, right? I mean, it had that origin from the Persia. Actually, maybe this is all part of it. You know the Bloomberg, right? He built what do you call it? The Temple of Mithras in London.
Really?
Mithraeum?
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, Bloomberg.
Mithraeum. The Mithraeum.
Yeah. So So basically,
what the heck?
Yeah, there's a resurrection in the Mithras cult, and so I don't know with the Olympics, choosing this the mascot of wearing
the Mithra is interesting because we have like 3 versions of Mithra. We have the pre-Roman, the post-Roman, or whatever is the pre-Renaissance, and then we have kind of this contemporary version. I'm glad that, as I said, contemporary, the Lego version showed up of Mithra. But the idea that there's like a dance party and there's a dinner party and the Last Supper, a lot of the Last Supper comes from the Mithra cult idea as well.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes, dude, like I know he's killing this thing, but the way he kneels on it, it feels like more is going on there. There's like a.
You look out the other symbol, the snake, and there's a wolf. I don't even know what those symbols represent.
Right.
But,
well, snake represents so many things, so who knows?
Right.
Let's do a couple more. COVID G20 to adapt vaccine passports using WHO standards, to promote digital identity schemes, because now there's a real reason to care about where people are going because they're walking, talking bags of stuff,
Yeah. And,
controlled substances, blood, right?
Coincide with the digital money, CBDC, whatever. We were
missile. We saw that. Putin bombs Poland. Shame on you, Putin. Why would you drop a Ukrainian thing?
It's false flag. It's false flag. I swear to God. We can pass that one. Keep reading that one though.
Yeah.
This is the one I was talking about earlier. That how the money's transferred between them, and but not a whole lot of context. But yeah, just where this guy's hiding his money. This was a little complicated. Well, I obviously there's a lot of sync with that, with the Ready Player One, because the metaverse and everything does.
Yeah, I imagine that Steven Spielberg is going to use this opportunity to completely destroy the movie industry and to begin the segue into VR games, because that way they can control every part of the experience so much more without actors.
Yeah. He says he cares about films, and no, he's moving on to the next big industry. So
there was no doubt in my mind that Banksy works for British foreign intelligence. See, look at it. Like it starts out crazy. You're like, hey, come on, royal family. But then, like 6 days later, you're like, what else could it possibly be?
I mean, well, I mean, just this painting itself, and the spray paint, whatever you call it, it's basically inspired by the Golden Dawn,
right.
What is that? The crying Isis. That basically your limbs are in formation of a swastika. So
can you imagine how rough it is to actually be Eddie? Because like he'll be just sitting there minding his own business, and then all of a sudden he's like, I see the crying ISIS. He just can't even help it.
the Azov Nazis. Look at it.
Normal people just try to enjoy Banksy pictures. Why can't we just ignorance is bliss? I don't know what's wrong with us.
Oh, tomorrow Artemis.
Cross your fingers, guys, because good luck.
And do you know what the date is? Tomorrow is the 16th, so 11/16. That's 1116. So that's 666, literally.
Nice.
Well, the original launch date was September 3rd, so that's 93 Thalemia. So.
Oh yeah, 93 to 666. Gotta do it perfectly, right?
Right. And Emily Blunt says she's getting tired of heroin. What do you call it?
Yeah, actors shouldn't take heroin. That's a real problem in the industry. I'm just kidding. No, it is though. But yeah, this is good. So Mote B. This is one of my favorites. Is like, you know what? Say what you want about the man. He is a meme. That is hilarious. He's hilarious. Every time he's like, you know what? I think I'll just hold my hand like the opposite of the dark side of the moon. Like it's adorable. I mean,
I think I laid some bricks right there.
Yeah, I mean, come on. That's the Mason apron for those of you who didn't get the joke. It's just
and in the comments, like, I put the green acre.
So when you posted this picture, I was like, what the hell? Did someone find my Birks? Because I lost my Birks, and then I saw this and I was like, now I really need to go lie down for a while. This is Steve Jobs' pair of Birkenstocks, and I was like, now I know why I don't keep my old Birkenstocks, because it's literally sweat rancid oils in corkwood, and it's
because of his essence, that's why it's to $218,000.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
His oils are preserved in
they should remake The Boys from Brazil, but about Steve Jobs, and just like a bunch of these like weird Silicon Valley dudes going around the world cloning Steve Jobs and raising him to have families that don't take care of him in order that he builds the next great music player device for Joseph Mengele. You know, that's, I guess, plot, right?
Just throw
that's perfect.
It's a lot of allegory in this world. And the Beetlejuice blinking, the winking blink. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So the next one, this is going to be interesting. Warren Buffett just invested like huge amount in it. You know, this is the semiconductor company I told you about that I worked. I didn't work there, but I was in Taiwan. I visited the headquarters. So Taiwanese semiconductors are going to be really, really valuable because the war. You know, when the war starts,
the new Switzerland. Yeah. Taiwan is Switzerland until China gets it, and that's why this is so important because it's all about the silicon. I mean, it's not only, but the semiconductors and the silicon wafer fab processes. To this day, trying to buy a decent GPU and processor from China, it just isn't there yet. You know.
No.
So,
and well, the TSMC opened up a new. Speaking of which, Arizona, right? So they opened up a new campus there, but they cannot hire anybody because people are just disqualified. They're not like those crazy Taiwanese nerds,
right?
So, look at that one. Look it up. It's a new campaign for COVID.
What the hell, dude?
Yeah, you should watch.
Can I make a perfume? Is there a perfume yet called COVID-19? Because like I would sell that. That seems like a thing. Smells like hospital bed and just crush plans for your summer, right?
Hey, go and click on it though. It's hilarious. The Twitter.
The
video, actual video.
No, is it? Oh God. Okay.
And it actually was from the United Nations.
Freedom, bring me. Oh.
Give back.
Just like that. Feel a rush when I'm around you. Try not to blush when I'm bound to you.
Boosters.
This is so
vaccine become a luxury.
This should be on the side of a building in Blade Runner. Like that is just nuts, man.
Oh my word.
UNICEF. It's about UNICEF. Oh my God.
I'm 888 retweets right there for your synchronicity. Oh God.
Oh, this is crazy. So this was yesterday. Okay, you know Gavin
Nuisance,
so,
right? Yes.
So he just got reelected as a California governor, right? We know
allegedly.
So and then a day later, his wife is in court talking about how Harvey Weinstein raped her. It's crazy. You go and read the article in Vanity Fair. It's so crazy detailed. I was like shaking. I was reading it. Like it's just so disgusting what he did to her. But she literally, her husband was in the court. The governor was in court listening to the.
Well, he's probably the one who set it up, allegedly. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, this is weird.
Well, the thing is that because Harvey Weinstein actually funded how much money to Gavin Newsom's campaign, right? For years in a row. So that. Yeah, so it's just a little weird because she did call Harvey Weinstein. Hey, how are you supposed to help? How do you want to help my husband? But that's when she got married. So they were still in communication.
Right.
After that, when she was sexually assaulted, that was when she was 2005. She was still single and not even dating him. So it's crazy. There's something's weird about it, but she was shaking.
Yeah, we got to get a handle on the situation. I don't know. We'll have to look into this more. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I mean, there's a lot more here. I want to do this more, Eddie. I think we're gonna have to go deeper into it, but we're 2 hours deep. Is there anything you see really quickly as we rush by that you want to make sure we cover? Otherwise, guys, you can go to Synchronous on the Facebook.
You skip that one. Okay. Yeah.
Go to Synchronous on the Facebook and then also Synchronous on the Twitter. So make sure you join the group because the group is back and thriving now that Eddie has been permitted to speak. And in the meantime, also, he's been really queuing. I mean, he's nearly up to 100 just in the last couple of weeks of posting amazing synchronicity research into contemporary events, some of the best news on news, in my opinion, is the synchronicity research that Eddie's doing. So I hope you guys are subscribed. If you're not, take this time to go and subscribe.
Subscribe and post. Everybody's welcome to post. I'm just trying to keep it busy, because people are kind of quiet, idling sometimes. So
right. Well, that's the thing. A lot of people do wait to see what you're posting because you see things very clearly a lot of the time. You guys, if you have information, definitely post it into the Facebook group. But in general, you can also say, hey, at Synchronous when you post something on Twitter, if you're more Twitter compliant. So get in the internet, find us. We're doing all this research. We want to connect with you. Super stoked that you're here, Eddie. Deep Share podcast as well. One of my favorite podcasts.
Yes, sir.
And
I go to my YouTube mainly. YouTube, I don't do much with the website anyway, but I just linked to a post that I just made earlier today on Instagram. I got some news from the Box Saga end of things.
Really?
Is really weird, and I don't have all the information yet, but I was shown the letter that was originally sent to the Temple 12, the group that has been excavating the Lemminkainen temple for the past 30 years.
Wow.
They, in late October, found an axe head about halfway into the cave that had, they had blasted all the stone out over the past years, and they have found a medieval axe head dated anywhere from 800 to 1050 AD, which would put it in a perfect time frame for what is suggested about the Box Saga anyway in this temple. But this temple, it's rejected by the Finnish Historical Society and everything. They say it's just a natural formation, and they disregard all of this anyway. But it's interesting that in the past week, things have happened with the ownership of the land where this quote unquote temple or not a temple is located. And now this land is going to auction. And so the Temple 12, the people that have been dedicated to this, were sent a letter, and it's not looking good, because it's if you guys can come up with the money, cool. If not, it's out of a fucking Hollywood movie. But it's really weirdly timed that no one has given a shit about any of their excavation progress for decades at this point. And now suddenly they make a discovery of something that absolutely should not be behind a ton of blasted out rock. And suddenly the land is up for grabs or threatened. This would absolutely stop the excavations. So this is an interesting timing thing,
Wow. Yeah, it's epic. Guys, if you want to find out more about that, make sure you are subscribed to the Deep Share podcast. And if you haven't already, listen to the Astral Sleep Paralysis episode. Vicky Joy.
Oh, yeah, I want to listen to that one. Yeah,
that was a great time. Vicky's awesome.
And there's a lot of great episodes here too, including the Christopher Knowles episode where you guys talk about Boston hardcore, which is
fun. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. But there's a lot.
We got a lot of Box Saga stuff on there too. Dan and I go deep on some shit.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I gotta get Dan and Dan. Remind me. I'll hit him up after this, and we should get him on the show in the next week or two.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. He'd love to. That'd be fun.
Dude. Deep Share podcast. Buy my merch. I think that's good. All right, guys. I love you very much. We'll see you next week. And in the meantime, hit us up. We'll see you soon.
See you guys.